Senators, the Honorable Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Antiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Soto, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camille, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 senators present, Chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Floor Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the Journal of the Second Session Tuesday, July 29, 2025, and consider the same as approved. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is approved.
Mr.
Majority
President, before we continue, may I be allowed to acknowledge some guests from the gallery, guests of Senator Ejercito, Congressman Marlo Bangcoro of the 1st District of Zamboanga, Sibugay, Governor Dulce Ann Hofer of Zamboanga, Sibugay, Barangay Chairpersons of Marawi City. Also with us, guests of Senator Pangilinan, LGU officials of Garcia Hernandez, Bohol, led by Mayor Jess Baha, LGU officials of Batad, Iloilo, led by Mayor Elvira Alarcon, barangay officials of Talisay, Cebu, and Carlos P. Garcia, Bohol. Guests also of Senator Bato de la Rosa, Mayor Onggi Lim of Mabini, Bohol, Mayor Al Taculad of Vero, Bohol, Mayor Benji Oliva from Katigbian, Bohol. Also guests of Senator Bato de la Rosa and Senator Bongo, officials of Isulan, Suntan Kudarat, Congresswoman Ruth Sakaluran, Mayor Princess Rian Sakaluran, Vice Mayor Arnold Armada, and councilors of Isulan, Sultan Kudarat. Guests of Senator Camille Villar, Ms. Pamela Santos and Ms. Pauline Santos of the Asian Development Bank, and guests of Senator Legarda, barangay captains from Marawi City, specifically from the most affected areas of the 2017 Marawi siege, led by Engineer Harry Barambangan, and the Liga ng Barangay captains of Tobias Fournier Antique, led by Provincial President and Vice President for Visayas, Julius Cesar Tahanlangit. We welcome all of them in this August chamber, Mr. President.
To the aforementioned guests, welcome to your Senate and good afternoon. Majority Leader.
Yes. Okay, we'll just put clarification. Sige.
Chair would like to correct, upon being informed by the Secretariat, the number of senators present, given that Senator Tulfo Rafi was already at the door. 22 instead of 21 would be the total number of senators present.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. With the permission of the body, Mr. President, in the 19th Congress, we amended Section 20 of our rules to provide for the designation of 2 deputy majority leaders and 1 deputy minority leader. Consequently, Mr. President, we amended Section 13 of our rules to make room for the automatic membership of these deputies in all committees. Considering, Mr. President, our consultations with the members of the body yesterday, including with our minority floor leader, may I respectfully move for the designation of 1 other deputy majority leader and 1 other deputy minority leader. As a result, there will be a total of 3 deputy majority leaders and 2 deputy minority leaders. But let me clarify it, Mr. President, that Section 20 of our rules, which provides for the automatic membership of all of the deputies in all standing committees, will only apply to 2 deputy majority leaders and 1 deputy minority leader. Thus, Mr. President, there will be no need to increase the membership of all our standing committees despite the designation of a 3rd deputy majority leader and a 2nd deputy minority leader. I so move, Mr. President.
What is the pleasure of Senator Zubiri?
Yes, I'd just like to put on record my clarification. My clarificatory question to the majority leader.
The
is that-
gentleman may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. So that means there will be two minority leaders, because there's already two. Yes, so sorry, two deputy minority leaders. 'Cause there are already two deputy majority leaders. But you will increase it to three deputy majority leaders and two deputy minority leaders. However, only one of the deputy minority leaders will be members of all committees, and the other two deputy majority leaders will be members of all standing committees. Okay.
Yes, that is correct,
Thank you,
Your
Mr.
Honor.
President. I'm clarified.
Thank you.
Is there any objection to the motion of the distinguished majority floor leader? Hearing none, what is the pleasure of the Honorable Pangilinan?
This is not an objection, just if I may be allowed to clarify the
The gentleman may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, may we know why we need additional deputy leaders in the Senate?
Majority floor leader?
Mr. President, in practice and in the past Congresses, Mr. President, especially during budget deliberations, Mr. President, where we literally burn midnight oils, Mr. President, we wanted to have some support not only from the Senate President, being the presiding officer, but also from this on the ground, Mr. President. And last Congress, as mentioned by this representation, we amended the rules by designating two deputy majority leaders and one deputy minority leader.
As an additional information, in the 19th Congress, there were only 2 members of the minority. Now there are 5 members of the minority. So the adjustment was made in order to accommodate that bigger number of members who have aligned themselves with the minority.
Yes,
I hope that satisfies the gentleman.
Yes, forgive my ignorance regarding this matter. I was not here in the last Congress, and therefore I was not aware. Would there be additional emoluments or I just wanted to clarify that because I might consider becoming a deputy majority leader in the event that there is additional emoluments.
None that I'm aware of, Your Honor, but I will inquire from the Secretariat.
Just kidding. Kidding aside, Mr. President, I'd like to thank the majority leader for the clarification.
Move for the previous question. Motion, Mr. President.
Unless there are other clarifications, is there any objection to the motion of the majority leader? Hearing none, motion is hereby granted. And to clarify again for the record, the motion to designate a third deputy majority floor leader and a second deputy minority leader, with the understanding that the majority and minority leader shall select who among the deputies will sit in which committees. Thus, amendments to Section 20 and Section 13 of our rules are unnecessary, as there will be no increase in the membership as a consequence of this designation. So ordered.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, at this juncture, I move that we proceed with the reference of business. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Secretary is directed to comply.
Bills on first reading, Senate number 101, Strengthening Filipino Identity Through National Values, Etiquette, and Moral Uprightness Program, establishing a Commission on Filipino Values and an Interfaith Council and for other purposes, Senator Cayetano, AP.
What is the pleasure of the minority leader?
Well, Mr. President, we understand the point of having the reference of business being projected so that we can save on paper. But there are some of us who make notations on the paper. So can we be furnished copies of the reference of business?
I was informed during the time of then President Zubiri that it was decided that it will be done through the screen unless a member requests. So we note the request of the distinguished minority floor leader and will comply with respect to any member who may desire to be furnished a hard copy of the reference of business. What is the pleasure of the Honorable Pangilinan?
I share with the sentiment raised by the minority leader. I too, perhaps because of being a baby boomer, I have to feel the paper to better understand and better appreciate the bills that are being referred. So may I also request that I be given a hard copy of the agenda?
The Secretariat is so directed, and
may it be an omnibus request that every session we be given copies.
no. Once requested, it shall henceforth be provided.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President.
Not only for this session. Duly noted, and Chair would like to inform the members that whomsoever would wish a hard copy, you may do so, and your office can coordinate with the Secretariat, who shall gladly comply. Acting now on the previous question, the bill read by the Secretary is referred to the Committees on Basic Education, Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation and Finance.
Senate Number 102, institutionalizing a comprehensive path to educational competition through a holistic student support program, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, Senator Cayetano AP.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Higher Technical Vocational Education, and Finance.
103, creating a third commission on education, EDCOM 3, strengthening and continuing the mandate of EDCOM 2 to address the national education crisis, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senators Cayetano AP, Cayetano P, Escudero, and Villanueva.
The Committees on Basic Education, Higher Technical Vocational Education, and Finance.
104, establishing an executive legislative labor commission to identify key challenges in the labor sector, propose solutions for the establishment of a nationwide framework for a living wage, and institutionalize a national labor roadmap by Senators Cayetano AP, Cayetano P, and Escudero.
The Committees on Labor, Employment, and Human Resources Development, and Finance.
105, creating the Emergency Response Department, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, Senator Cayetano AP.
The Committees on National Defense and Security, Peace, Unification, and Reconciliation, Civil Service, Government Organization, and Professional Regulation, and Finance.
106, institutionalizing a national program to support and care for abandoned, neglected, and voluntarily committed children, creating a special trust fund, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, Senator Cayetano AP.
To the Committees on Social Justice, Welfare and Rural Development, Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality, and Finance.
107, establishing centers for elderly in all cities and municipalities, providing minimum standards, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, Senator Cayetano AP.
To the Committees on Social Justice, Welfare and Rural Development, Local Government, Ways and Means, and Finance.
108, establishing camp development funds for the armed forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police, appropriating the sum total of 25 billion pesos for each for 5 years, and for other purposes, Senator Cayetano AP.
To the Committees on National Defense and Security, Peace, Unification, and Reconciliation, Public Order, Dangerous Drugs, and Finance.
109, prohibiting all forms of advertising of online gambling, Senator Cayetano AP.
To the Committees on Public Information and Mass Media, and Games and Amusements.
110, establishing a national health passport system integrated with the Philippine Identification System, strengthening primary health care by mandating the Department of Health and the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation to ensure that every indigent or disadvantaged Filipino citizen receives, free of charge, a comprehensive executive checkup at least once a year, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, Senator Cayetano AP.
The Committees on Health and Demography, and Finance.
111, establishing a national minimum wage for private sector workers, imposing stricter penalties for violations thereof, and amending for the purpose PD 442 as amended, the Labor Code of the Philippines, introduced by Senator Marcos.
The Committee on Labor, Employment, and Human Resources Development.
112, providing for a minimum wage for farmers, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, Senator Marcos.
The Committees on Agriculture, Food, and Agrarian Reform, and Finance.
113, amending RA 11959, the Regional Specialty Centers Act, and for other purposes, Senator Marcos.
The Committee on Health and Demography.
114, establishing the Young Farmers and Fisher Folk Challenge Program and creating for the purpose the Young Farmers and Fisher Folk Challenge Council, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Agriculture, Food, Agrarian Reform, Youth, and Finance.
115, an act to reform the budget process by enforcing greater accountability in public financial management, promoting fiscal sustainability, strengthening Congress's power of the purse, instituting an integrated PFM system, increasing budget transparency and participation, and for other purposes, Senator Marcos.
The Committee on Finance.
116, providing for the revised cooperative code of the Philippines, Senator Marcos.
Committees on Cooperatives, Constitutional Amendments, and Revision of Codes, Ways and Means, and Finance.
117, providing for aid to individuals and families seeking medical, funeral, food, transportation, educational assistance, psychosocial support, and other social services. Institutionalizing for this purpose the assistance to individuals in crisis situations, program of the DSWD, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, Senator Marcos.
The Committees on Social Justice, Welfare and Rural Development, and Finance.
118, an act instituting the national tax allotment, Senator Marcos.
The Committees on Local Government and Ways and Means.
on one